Good afternoon, Greenfield. Hello, Franklin County. This is Mpress from Moving Mountains Media, and we're here at the Greenfield Business Association official ribbon cutting. And I have a special guest here, Matthew Conway. Hi, Matt. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on, and it's really great to be here at the GBA official grand opening ribbon cutting of their new office space. It's very exciting.
And what benefit do you think this is going to bring to the city of Greenfield?
I mean, it's so much an asset to have a central space where everyone knows where to find you, and Hannah has just been incredible since coming aboard the GBA last year. She's incredibly proactive with fostering partnerships with the business community, and she's someone who really has an attentive eye for what's going on in the city and where best the GBA can assist.
Okay, that's awesome. So I always like to dig into the person who I'm talking to.
Fire away.
So, are you a resident of Greenfield?
I am not, unfortunately. I live out near the Springfield area.
Okay, so what brought you to Greenfield?
I'll say this. What I love most about Greenfield is it has this kind of rustic sense of place to it, but there's still this very vibrant community, a very vibrant downtown. Lots of really cool and kitsch kind of shops, some great eateries. And I mean, the best asset of any community is its people, and there's just so many welcoming, friendly, but most importantly, caring people who really care about the direction this community is going in and really want to see it grow into a great place. So there's just so much to like about what's going on here.
Awesome. And how do you feel about the business district in Greenfield, and what could we do to bring more businesses to downtown Greenfield?
Well, I think we're already really lucky to have a lot of great businesses. I think one of the great joys of my job is I get to go out for lunch a few times a week and experience all the great restaurants we have here, but also a lot of great bookstores, as an avid reader like myself would appreciate. There's just so much different things, and it's so eclectic and rich, and there's so many places that I feel like have such a storied history already. So the thing I love most about Greenfield is it is these kind of mom and pop shops. It's not like, Walmart and Target on one end. I like that there's a real sense of personability to the businesses here, and I think that really is one of the things that brings people down here. And as far as growing the business community, I think it's just making sure that they feel supported by the city, making sure they have the resources they need to succeed. And I know it's really been challenging at times for the business community, post-pandemic, etc. But just making sure we show as much support as we can and really lending a helping hand where we can too.
That's awesome stuff. And can you just tell the people who you are?
My name is Matt Conway, and I'm the Communications Director for the City of Greenfield.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Empress, and I'm back, and you're watching Moving Mountains Media. I'm sitting here with my good friend, Isaac Mass from Greenfield, Massachusetts. How are you today, Isaac?
I'm doing great, Empress. Thanks so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. So we just had a ribbon cutting for GBA. How do you feel about that?
It is so exciting. The Greenfield Business Association is so important to this community, and the growth that we're doing is amazing. We're reaching out, and we for many years had a reputation of only representing the downtown businesses, and we really are reaching out beyond that. We want to represent not just retailers, but manufacturers, farmers. We want to support the whole underpinning of the economy here in Franklin County and lift all boats, and it's showing, and people are rowing in the same direction. And good employers mean people are going to have jobs. There's going to be money for the community. There's going to be more activity. It makes it a nicer place for people to live, which is what the GBA is all about.
Exactly. So what's your vision of Greenfield's business district within, say, the next 5-10 years?
Well, Greenfield doesn't have just one business district, but multiple business districts. We had a meeting along with the Deerfield Corridor and all the businesses down there. We're going to be at Four Phantoms later in the year talking about all of the businesses along Wells Street. We want to reach out to the Industrial Park and to the west of the Rotary. There are little nodes of business all over Greenfield, and we want to help them all grow and expand and make more money and serve more people. Our goal is really to help engage that business community to help them grow themselves and help them engage with their neighbors.
Absolutely. So I know we didn't really get into it, but can you please tell the people who you are and what's your status in Greenfield?
Well, my name's Isaac Mass, and I am the co-owner, along with my wife Angela, of the Greenfield Garden Cinema. I'm
also located downtown.
Yeah, center of the Crossroad Cultural District, right in the heart of the historic district. We're in a historic building from 1929. Building holds my law office because running the movie theater is my side hustle. And, I'm a former city councilor in Greenfield and active member of the Greenfield Business Association.
Awesome. I see you have a ticket here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so one of the things I also do is I'm a member of the Greenfield Moose Lodge.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and the Greenfield Moose Lodge is celebrating on New Year's Eve that it's going to be 2025. So we are raffling off $2,025 as our top prize. We're actually giving away over $3,000 in prizes. There are 10 different prizes that are all going to be drawn at 9 o'clock on New Year's Eve because we think this is a great way to kick off the new year. All this money goes to support the good efforts of the Greenfield Moose Lodge to help seniors and children in need.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the Greenfield Moose has lots of charitable activity, including local charitable activity, but our two primary things we do are support Moose Heart, which is a child city an hour west of Chicago to take in kids who have no other place to go, raise them from the cradle literally to even post-high school education, and give them a real sound family home. And then Moose Haven, which is in Orange Park, Florida, takes care of our senior residents who are indigent, and we've had actually 3 different people from Greenfield who are members of the Greenfield Lodge who've gone down and spent the rest of their life in Moose Haven, and it is a luxury retirement community. It is amazing. I kind of want to go there right now myself.
That's awesome. So I love the new Moose because, like you said, they take care of the babies and they take care of the older individuals, and great work for the Moose. And once again, this is for, what's the date?
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve is the drawing, correct?
Yes, it's almost the most anticipated event of the Moose this year, except I hear we're going to have a Caribbean night later in next year.
A little birdie.
A little birdie told me that.
Exactly. So how can they get in contact with you if anybody wants to know more information? Yeah,
people can catch me either at the lodge or at my law office, or ask any other member of the Moose, and they will race to get you a ticket.
Moose, another member of the Moose. Okay, well, thank you so much, Isaac, for sitting with me today.
Oh, thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone at home.
Hello, this is Mpress, and you're watching Moving Mountains Media, and I'm sitting here with my sister, a.k.a. best friend, Rachel. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Oh, it couldn't be a better day.
And you're absolutely right, because you was actually Hannah.
I was. Hannah is actually me.
Exactly. So how do you feel about today?
I am so happy. It was a goal that we had as a small fledgling GBA when we broke off from the apartment. When we broke off from the rental space with the chamber, and we kind of walked away with a few $100s and a mission. And Hannah is fulfilling that mission every single day. I could not be happier for the GBA, and Hannah's just doing an amazing job.
She is, and we all love Hannah, and she definitely is. You know, because I know when you left, my heart broke.
No.
And I was like, who's gonna be Rachel? Who could be Rachel? And then Hannah popped up.
Hannah was already on the horizon. There were some parts in play that we knew that she would be a wonderful fit, and so when it came down to who was going to be the next person to fulfill this space, she was top on our list to begin with because we knew, And how could we be happier? She has done so much to welcome the broader community. We really focused on downtown, especially when we had such limitations with COVID, that trying to grab people from out of the downtown circle into downtown was the only way we could get them to participate. And now she's going out there and saying, how can you participate in your own home, so to speak? And that's, what a dream.
Exactly. Well, because you was with GBA for so long, can you tell us a little bit about the mission and the original vision of GBA?
Ooh, well,
Sorry, I tend to like to put people.
GBA started in 1948, so it was fresh after World War, and the chamber was realizing that Greenfield was a community to reckon with, so to speak. It needed its own representation. And so it just kind of sprung as an arm of the chamber at that point, because they were still stationed in Greenfield. That's where they were. And over the years, sometimes it was hard to tell the difference between the two, because they were both kind of trying to emphasize the amazing things that are happening in Greenfield. And then in the 80s, some other people came along, some of my predecessors, and the 90s, and then all of a sudden in the I was going to say 2000, probably 2000, I don't remember, but it was in 2000 something that I came in. And so they paved the way to have a separate entity, but we still were residing with the chamber. And so there was that kind of vague line between who each of us were. And so really at that point, the GBA was just focusing on the Greenfield businesses of the chamber. And then it grew into having two separate pods of businesses. So the majority of them were chamber, and a few of them would pick one or the other of us. And then we realized when I first came along, the chamber lost Anne. And then it had a quick succession of directors. And in that time, the GBA just kind of got lost in the shuffle. And so we decided as a board to say, let's get out of here. Let's try to do our own thing. It's time Greenfield had its individual representation. And so we did that. We created our own nonprofit entity and did all the none of us knew what we were doing. I mean, we were just shooting. Let's do this. Okay, we're going to make this happen. And, really, some of the people are still on the board. It's fabulous to see them still there. Making it happen. And
that's history in the making. But so when you decided to do that, did you receive a lot of support from the community?
We did. Oh, yes. I mean, for instance, we had an office in the green space here because they wanted to give us a space. They couldn't give us an office, but they gave us a table, and it made it possible for us to move out and keep the stuff out of my house. And be a presence. And then COVID came, and it made it really hard, so everything was online. I mean, we did as much as we could online. So many people did. We were able to write grants and receive grants with the support of the chamber. They would write letters of support for us, as would the city, because nobody knew who we really were. Especially statewide. And it got to the point where we were able to give money back to the community in need, which was really important for us.
That's amazing work. So let me ask you another question. So where do you see the Greenfield Business District headed, or what would you like to see in the next 5-10 years?
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty around the Wilsons building. Would certainly love to see the Wilsons building up and running, whether it's just the apartments, which it sounds like is going to happen first, or the apartments and the co-op. I mean, I do have a special love of the co-op, considering my husband's there. I would love to see, that get moved and really get in its space. Speaking of which, they just got a new liquor license, so they'll be selling beer and wine there.
You heard it here first.
I think starting in about a month, which is awesome. I hope I didn't spoil anything. But, they're growing in that little bitty space, and I just can't wait to see them burst. I remember putting the shelves in when they moved there from Chapman Street. It was just... So... Yes, I would like to see that. I also think that people are overly judgmental when they walk down the street. We have businesses in almost every window and door, but they just honestly say that there's nothing here. And I think if people took the time to actually walk the downtown area, they would see for themselves that we've got great little independent businesses that are working really hard to make things work for themselves, and they've been sticking it out through COVID, through the end after COVID, because that wasn't easy either
for nobody.
Well, because all the funding was taken away all of a sudden, and they had to make it themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, I would like to just have people take that time to breathe in Greenfield, because Greenfield is remarkable.
It's a great
We
place
have
to be.
a community television. We have a newspaper. We have radio stations. We have libraries. We have community centers. We have We have a college. I mean, what else can people say about Greenfield? That we're amazing.
Yes, we are. and I second that. We are amazing. And you did mention the library, and you are on the board.
I'm actually not on the board. I work for the board.
Oh, look at that. You remember? Can you tell us a little bit about the library?
Sure. In 2012, we hired a new director, knowing that we wanted to apply again to have this new building. It would be the third time that they applied. So I was the youngest on the Friends of the Greenfield Public Library, which is a volunteer organization to support the library. And Joe Rigari was the youngest on the trustees. So they put us together and said, we need an advisory group. So from 2013 to today, we are both working in support of the library.
Wow.
Yeah, and when we get together with Ellen Boyer and Doris Cowdery, it's like, wow, it's like lightning strikes.
and I've been in the new library, and I just love it. And there's so many different programs and ways for the kids to be involved and older people to be involved. It's definitely a family-friendly atmosphere.
I'm so glad you say that. So the Friends are actually the ones who raise all the money for all the programming at the library. So when you bring a kid there, or when you see an adult getting into a book discussion, that's from the work of the Friends and the donations of the community to the Friends. The foundation is shifting gears. I don't know if you heard, but we paid our $2 million to the city last month.
Oh, wow.
It is done. And that means all these people who donated, over 1,000 people donated in support of this new building.
That's awesome.
Isn't it amazing?
It is. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so it was their compassion for the library, our hard work for the library, and we get that amazing space. But now what do we do as the foundation? We're asking ourselves, and what we're realizing is that there's going to be more capital needs of the library that the city won't be able to fund or can't fund in the future. So we're going to start raising money for those things, as well as staff development. We right now are doing a really wonderful support of a mural that's happening in the teen room. And so it's kind of fun to shift gears from the building to what do we do to help the library? It's all about what do we do to help the library, because every one of us who's on those boards, working for those boards or volunteering for their boards, knows everything we do every day there gives back to a wide swath of our community. It is incredible. We had over 11,000 visitors last month.
11,000 visitors at the library.
Yeah, at our little library. Population 17,600 people in Greenfield. Yeah, 8,000 households. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yes, that's definitely amazing. Guys, I'm sitting here, like I said, with Rachel. As you see, she's a wonderful person. She's a beautiful soul. And
as are you, my dear. As are you.
And like I said, she's somebody who I consider not just my friend, but my sister, and I love her to death. Thank you so much for sitting with me today, Rachel.
Oh, thank you so much, sister.
Hi, this is Mpress, and you're watching Moving Mountains Media, and I'm sitting here with my good friend, Dr. Jeff Trent. Hi, Jeff. Dr. Trent.
It's just Jeff tonight.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so well. This is such an exciting day for the GBA.
So let's talk a little bit about that. How do you feel about the new GBA building and moving forward, and how it's beneficial to Greenfield?
Yeah, so let's talk community, right? So the secret sauce of Franklin County and Greenfield, right, is the community and the people. And the GBA is such an important convener. And really today, you know, kind of being able to celebrate the GBA and to cut a ribbon on their new space is really a wonderful opportunity for the GBA to continue their legacy of convening and bringing people together. So for us, and I have the pleasure of leading the Children's Advocacy Center in the community, you know, we find the GBA to be such an important partner. It's a place to convene with other business leaders, other nonprofit organizations, and quite honestly, even though we're up on Wisdom Way, we see ourselves as a downtown business, and so it's really important to be able to connect with our neighbors, and the GBA is a place that we do that.
Awesome. You know, like I was saying, today is a special day because, you know, the GBA ribbon cutting, but something else happened today. Jeff, so I hear that you received your Superman cape.
So I must say that Jesse Dean is a master at the artful misdirect. one of the great relationships that the Children's Advocacy Center has is with Merrill and Jen Gagne and Gagne Wealth Management. They've been such stalwart supporters of the organization. And a few weeks ago, Jesse had reached out to me and asked if I would present Merrill with his cape. And so I came in and I was ready, to give some fresh remarks and to really lift up Merrill for all he does to really help, support and advance and really to help teach the community how to be philanthropic. And so I came in really with that being my mission, and then saw my entire team from the CAC and my wife, who was supposed to be in Boston having lunch with her boss, who also had done an artful misdirect. And so, yeah, I can say that I was completely taken aback, and it was really just it was wonderful, mostly for the CAC to be able to be kind of lauded, for the work that we do.
Absolutely, because the CAC is such a great organization, especially for not just Greenfield but Franklin County, correct? And Hampshire County.
Yeah, so kind of our really brief kind of origin story, if we're going to talk like superheroes, right, is that, 30 years ago, we were a program of the Northwestern District Attorney's Office, back when DA Scheibel was in office and really brought the concept of having a more integrated response to child abuse in her office. Then from there came the Northwestern Children's Advocacy Center, which is on the grounds of Smith Vocational Technical School in Northampton, and that served the prosecutorial jurisdiction of the Northwestern DA's office, right? So Franklin, Hampshire, and when we say the North Quabbin, we're talking about the community of Athol, correct, right, in Worcester County. And so that organization existed, but for families that lived in Franklin County in the North Quabbin, if they had to go in to access those services, they had to travel to Northampton or to Springfield or to Boston, and that's not accessible. Right. And so when District Attorney David Sullivan was elected, he really had challenged a group of civic leaders to help site a CAC in Franklin County, situated right at the crossroads of 91 and Route 2, to really make those resources available. And so since then, we've been here growing, and that, kind of the next chapter is that we have a project that's under construction presently. Okay. We're opening a second location in Orange, to really help make kind of resources more accessible, so that families don't have to travel all the way in or can't travel all the way in. And we want to make sure that we can to really give every child access to that type of care.
Awesome. You see, that's why you're a superhero.
No, Franklin County are the superheroes. We just have the pleasure of being, kind of part of the journey.
Well, that's awesome. Well, like I said, I'm sitting here with my good friend Jeff. Me and Jeff actually go back a couple decades, and it's just so ironic how we just met up again last year, and it's an honor for me to be sitting next to this great person, this superhero, Dr. Tramp. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you. Hi, this is Mpress, and you're watching Moving Mountains Media. And so far, we've talked to Matt Conway from the city of Greenfield. We talked to Jeff Tramp from Children's Advocacy Center, Isaac Mass from the Greenfield Garden Cinema, and we also spoke with Rachel, who used to be Hannah. So this brings us to Hannah. Yeah. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so excited. Congratulations. How do you feel today?
Oh, I'm beyond happy. It all came together. It feels so good. People came out to support. I feel amazing.
You had an amazing turnout today. Oh. An amazing turnout.
Wild, right? Absolutely. The thing is, people don't RSVP to things, so you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, no, I think we had about 50 or 60 people in an office that's not made for that many people. It was warm, but yeah, no, the support and the community was just unreal. And seeing people connect with one another, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to tell you, I'm one of those guilty of not RSVPing.
That's okay.
I just showed up, so I'm guilty.
It's okay.
I mean, but like overall, I mean, so you took over Rachel's position. Yes. Was that 2 years ago?
It was last year, so it's been about a year and a half.
Wow, and you just jumped right in.
Like I do.
With your energy.
You know it.
And your vision.
Yes.
So can you tell us some more about your vision?
Yes. So when I take on a role, I spend about the first 6 months just listening. because I want to really know what I'm stepping into. But right from the start, I'm sort of spinning an idea of what's happening around me. And I think a month after I started, actually, we had our 75th anniversary, and so somewhere there's footage of me at Hawks and Reed talking about Greenfield like I've worked here for decades. Like, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. So, my vision as it has evolved over time from listening to business owners, really reconnecting in places that I was told there needed to be some reconnection, like the chamber, like the capital C city. I totally restructured the way we do membership. I invited people to sponsor us for the first time, which people were dubious about, if businesses were going to step up and sponsor, but they did. And so my vision has really evolved now into being about, I think, three main things. One is the rebuilding of pride in Greenfield. Really having a sense that this is a truly amazing place. We have an incredible history. We have so many people that have been business owners, community members for so long, and they are so generous with their time and with their knowledge. And so really getting back to a place where we think of Greenfield as the amazing place that it is, and helping to bring some folks forward who maybe are a little stuck in what it has been, because it's hard. It's hard to move out of what things have been and step forward. That takes a lot of healing and a lot of care. And then there's also really building the business community, connecting businesses to one another, connecting business owners to resources, making sure that everybody has what they need, because it's been an exhausting time. Not just COVID, but I think, it's been tough to be a business owner on all different levels. And then really making sure that the GBA is working on economic development in a big picture way. I think in the past we were more of a traditional business association, holiday decorations, events, which we still do all of that. I love all of that. And there needed to be another player who was really paying attention to the big picture of economic development in Greenfield and connecting outward.
And that's where you come from.
Yes.
So another question for you. So take, for instance, if you have a small business owner, entrepreneur, startup business, how could the GBA assist that person?
Yeah, so there are several ways, I think, depending on what style of business it is. So depending on if it's a nonprofit that they're trying to launch, if it's, a tech app, if it's a brick and mortar business, really making sure that they know what's at their disposal. There are grants out there, there's funding out there, there are other business owners who have done it before. And my goal always is to leverage one another and not duplicate efforts. So if there's a business that's doing something that business owner is wanting their product or their business to do, connecting them and saying, oh, have you met Mpress? Because she does screen printing and she's launched a business and she's focused on this community. She can tell you, some of the pitfalls or some of the great places to go and people to connect with. So I see the GBA as being a hub in a major, major way. That's part of why the physical space was important. So a business owner would call us, they do call us to say, how do I start up an LLC in Massachusetts? And how do I make sure I'm on the right side of a consulting business in Massachusetts? And how do I find other businesses that need my services or people that need my services? Or how do I find interns? That's a big, big question.
Really?
Yes.
You have a lot of people looking for interns that contact?
We do. And there are actually more programs in place than I think people even know to get interns, GCC, but also the Mass Hire Workforce Board, Franklin Tech School, the high school. It's all about finding the right person to talk to about those, and all of those entities have specific people who deal with that. So anything I can do to make a business owner's day super easy, if they can email me and just say, hey, I just need the person at GCC who oversees this. And if I know it, I'll connect them right away. If I don't know it, I'll reach out to someone I know and say, hey, who's the right person for this? Because at the end of the day, I just want business owners to feel supported and cut down a little bit on the running around they have to do.
Awesome. So what are some of the visions you have for Greenfield going forward?
Oh, what a great question. So many visions. I have so many visions. I think one of the big things is people really have thought that the GBA is a downtown organization, that we only focus on downtown. And I understand why they think that. One of my visions is to really address directly and tighten up each different node of business that we have going on. That's one of the things we're doing with our roundtable events, because being a downtown business is very different than being a business on the Wells Street corridor, is very different than being a business on the Rotary, is very different than being a business on Deerfield Street. And I'm trying to understand what those differences and challenges and similarities are to bring businesses together so that we feel like more of a really cohesive business ecosystem. We have everything from, small business owners who are selling their jewelry on Etsy to giant international industrial businesses up in our industrial park. Everybody has something that they can help one another with or that they need from each other. And so my vision is that we become more connected. And if the GBA can be that, if the chamber can be that, if the city, I don't care really how it happens. I really want it to happen. And then the other thing, I think the GBA is constantly threading the needle on how Greenfield used to be, some of the nostalgic things that people share. Oh, we were this, and Friday night was amazing, and you walked down Main Street and everybody was out. So I never want to live in the past on something, right? There's enough to work on from the past. We're not trying to go backwards. And there were feelings there, and there was a sense of community there that's important. So my vision is taking that knowledge, hearing what it is that people miss and what they want, and figuring out what that looks like today. What does that mean now? What does connectivity mean? What does a Friday night mean? Hawks and Reed is doing Off the Common across the street right now. That's the 4th free community concert they've done this summer. Amazing. How are we spreading the word? How do people know about that? How does the GBA support that? All of that work to really make sure that we are moving in a direction of being a community that's very active. And one of the things I hear the most is that Greenfield used to be the heart of and the gateway to Franklin County. And I think over many years and over a lot of scarcity in funding, in resources in general, we pulled into ourselves. And that was necessary for us to survive as a city. Cities go through changes. And now is the time to reopen. So my vision really is that Greenfield start to open again and see itself as that beating heart again, invite people from Franklin County, from Hampshire County, Hamden, from the Valley, and people from further away. That's where I get to throw the football to Jessie Dean, and she does the tourism, which is great. So
and Jessie, we just love Jessie.
We love Jessie.
And she's all that. So one last question. I know you talked about, not going to the past, but we're going to do this, okay?
Yes, please.
What brought you to Greenfield, and where are you coming from?
Ooh, I love that question. So I ended up in Greenfield totally by accident. I grew up in the Valley. I was born in Belchertown, lived most of my young life really going to school in Amherst, and then I lived in Northampton, and then I left for college, and I said to my parents, I am never coming back, get used to that, and I lit out for all the places, and I was gone for 17 years, and then it just so happened that I was in a relationship that my partner got a job at UMass. We were living in Philadelphia, and so we had a conversation about it, and I was like, well, okay, I guess we could move back there. And when we came to the area and looked around at houses, I really looked everywhere, and what we could afford for what we wanted was in Greenfield, thank goodness, on so many levels. And so I bought the house that I'm in now. The relationship went goodbye, but the house is still there. And so I ended up living in Greenfield. The first 4 years that I was back, I was working in Amherst, which was fantastic. But I really wanted to get back to Greenfield. I was on a lot of committees. I was getting...
So you was already active.
I was already active.
You was already here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I was waiting for the right opportunity. And when I left that job, I very fortunately, Jeremy Goldshire, who's a good friend who owns Green Space Co-work, just happened to reach out and say, the business association needs some leadership. And I was like, oh, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about
so
it.
I owe a huge debt to him. He knows it. And here we are. Here we are.
Well, Hannah, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. Today is your day, and we'll be back. Thank you.